Hi. In this video we'll be doing the lab for the last few concepts that we've learned since the last lab. This video is on C#, so we'll be going over the C# tutorials. So we have so this is taken from the Pearson, one of the Pearson textbooks, but the resources website is not online. Looks like it's disabled. This book is a little old, not too old, but it's looks like the website isn't working anymore or something. So we'll just have to elaborate. So the first thing is we'll need a group. So I'm in the design window, so I'll just select a group here. Sorry, a group box, not a group. So I'll put a group box there. You can move it around with that bigger bounding box, and then I'll just change the size. Okay, so something like, actually that might be just a bit too big. So something like this. And there's going to be a title at the top, so I'll probably try to move that down a bit. Okay, so first we'll change the form's title. So this is just test scores. So the group box itself has its own properties. So it has a text. It doesn't say title, so it has a text property. I think that's what we discussed. An identifier. Different properties. We haven't talked about all the properties. Let's just change the title, the text property here. So we'll say enter 3 scores. So as you can see, we have enter 3 scores. Change for the title of the group box. I forgot the capital, so let's just change that again. Alright, so we have the group box with the text property set. We have the bounding box. Pretty much there's no, I think there might be some kind of border. Maybe not. Maybe it has a default border style that's set to fixed single or fixed 3D. I think I might have mentioned that, but I forgot which one it's set to by default. Doesn't look like there's an actual border style in here, because it just goes from back color to content something, whatever that says. Context menu strip. So there is no border style, so it looks like it's either default fixed single or fixed single or fixed 3D, I think. Alright, so after that we'll have quite a few things to put on here. We don't really need to label all of them with an identifier. Excuse me. Sorry, my throat gets all clammy when I do videos, and then when I try to talk no one can hear me, so apologize for that. don't have my water on hand here. Okay, so we have we'll have to have 3 text boxes. So actually, yeah, so 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, and a label, and then another 4. So we got 5 labels here, kind of like an L, and 3 text boxes. So we'll put one here. So we'll just call that test 1 text box. Okay, so then we have the font. Actually, sorry, we have to turn auto size off, I think. Is there an auto size? No, maybe. Can't remember if text boxes have an auto size, or is that just labels? So let's just go for the size first, the font size. So let's change the font size to something bigger so we can just make it a bit bigger here. Then we'll just change the, oh great, okay. We got the event handler. That should be it. I don't see an auto size for the text box. It just goes accept, return. There's no AU. Actually, there is. There's auto, complete, custom something. I don't see auto size. Okay, so I guess there's no auto size for text boxes. So now we'll just do the same thing for another 2 of them. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so first let's just change the name. Why is it text box 1? We already had a text box 1. Okay, that's weird. So whoops, what happened there? So let's change this one to test 2 text box. Test, sorry, so we'll go with test 2 text box. Then we'll go with the font size to something bigger again. 26, I think. That should be fine. So we'll have 3 of them. So another one. We'll change that to test 3 text box. Size again, we'll just size it up to 26 font. I'll just change the size of the actual box manually. And we'll have 5 labels, starting with this one here, which is super tiny. Okay. So we have one label there. We'll call it average label. Then we'll change auto size to true. And then the font, we'll change the font size again to something the same as the boxes or something. Alright, so just something like that. The text we can change to just a bunch of spaces, just to try to get something in there. Whatever, that's fine. Okay, we should have went with a border style on there too. That's fine, fixed single's fine. 3 more labels. Sorry, 4 of them which don't need any identifier changes, just text. Okay, so pretty much just a bunch more of them, so we'll put one here. Auto size to true. Font size to something bigger. Text to test score number 1. Not test scored, but test score number 1. Something like that. Then we'll do test score 2, test score number 3, and then average. Gonna just copy these. Test score there. Yes, I'm just hitting Control C and then Control V on my keyboard. And I'm just gonna change the text properties for these. Deletes the whole thing. Okay, so test score number 2. Click that for the bounding box to come up. Change it to test score number 3. And then we'll click the last one and change it to average. And we just have 3 buttons. So a calculate button, or calculate average button, clear button, and exit button. And I think there was a way to set those properties that we learned about. We learned about the key access keys, so we can set the cancel and clear access key for the exit and clear button. One, so cancel to escape and enter, or basically, okay, so yeah, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. So calculate button we could perhaps set to enter on the keyboard, and clear or exit could be set to escape. Okay, actually no, we didn't run out of room. Okay, so we just need 3 buttons now. Let's go with 1 button here. So we'll just go with let's just change this name first. We'll go with identifier to calculate average button. So calculate average button, and then we'll change auto size to true. We'll go with the font size that's a bit bigger. 26 will be fine. Let's go with just calculate. Actually, maybe we should do the whole thing. That's a button there, so we'll have two more. Okay, so did I click the wrong thing? I think I did, so I'll just hit delete. I'll go with button. Double click and then button. Okay. So let's go with that button. Why is it button 1 when we just had? Maybe because we changed the name and it goes back to button 1. So let's change this to clear button. Alright, so I forgot. I wanted to set the access keys for all of these buttons, and for example make X or E the exit button. But I forgot, I think it's the one in front of the ampersand that we said is going to be the access key, so we could just try that out. Try that out in a sec here. So we can just change the button 1 to clear. Button. Let's go with just a camel case. Auto size to, I'll just double click that to change it to the other state, which is true. Font size will change to like 26. Text will change to clear. Okay, let's actually just try to make that a bit bigger because I can't see everything perfectly. Let's go with something bigger. No, just a bit bigger. That seems better. Just make these a bit bigger so everyone can see this a little bit better. So then, okay, so what we want to do here is, okay, let's just set them all first normally. Set everything up here for just the normal functions. So we'll set this one here. So button 2, we'll change the identifier to exit button. Auto size set to true, font changed. Font size. Text property to exit. Okay, so this is what we're going to change here. So we're going to go with ampersand. Let's just go in front of the E. Actually, let's go with ampersand after the E. So let's go E ampersand XIT. Now we got, okay, so now we got, so when before. So I think it's whatever's after the ampersand. I forgot what I mentioned in the notes. It's probably important to remember that. I just can't remember what it was, but it looks like the X is being underlined here. Actually, no, okay, so that's correct. That's what I kind of remember. So it's whatever is in front of, so if the ampersand's in front of the X, to the left of the X, that means the X is going to be the access key. So we should get a little underline under the X. Calculate average. So okay, what we're going to do here is click the form, get the bounding box up for the form. So how can you do that? You can just click the empty space here. In my case, it's a black space. Then I'm going to go to accept button. I'm going to go calculate average button. It's going to be now set to enter. And then we'll look for C. To cancel button, we'll go with clear. We'll set that to clear. There we go. Oh, there's more things we can do here. We could set the... I don't know why this went all white, by the way. Okay, so what happened here? Accept button should be the calculate average button. Does it just go that color for perhaps just for the design window? So what else have we learned? So we learned about fore color and back color. So fore color, remember, is the text, not in all cases, but it's the foreground color, which for example buttons will be the text, and the background color is just going to be the background of the button. So we could do that. We could change the form's background color itself, which we've done already in the past. Let's just try and change something else. Back color, let's go with back color. Property value not valid, why is that? Starting to glitch out here. Okay. Let's go with some of the web colors or system. Whatever, let's just go with custom then. Purple. Then we'll go with we'll just do 1 and 1, so we'll do one back color here, and then here we'll do the fore color. So we'll just click, I'll get the bounding box up by clicking the control, and then we'll go with the fore color here. Common text to something else. Whatever that is. Some kind of green or something. That should be fine. I can't remember what else we learned. We learned about panels. We could have put this in a panel, but that's fine. That's good enough probably for the front end. That's obviously super professional. But we'll be getting into making it more professional later on with the code and stuff. So now we'll do the actual code for the event handlers. Okay, so we have so we'll create the click event handlers for the button controls. So find the calculate button. Did we already click that? Code, nope, text, test 1 text box. Okay, so I think we clicked this one. So let's click this, so I'll get the bounding box up, I'll double click it. I'll move this kind of panel thing to the side. So let's code this. Calculate average button. How can I slide this over? There we go. Okay. Alright, so let's get into the code here. I was going to take a break, but I don't think we really need to, unless this is super. It might be a little bit longer of a code. Let's just see what we have here. One sec. Sorry about that. So we have click the calculate button control to generate the event handler from the drag and drop. So this opens a code editor. We should have our calculate button underscore click. Yep, we have that. So then we will complete the code here. Okay, so for using statements, do I have to add any extra using statements here? Systems.collections.generic, system.component model, system.data, drawing link, text, threading.task, windows.forms. Okay, so nothing to add. No fields, global fields in this case. Namespace, test score average, or in this case Windows Forms app 12, whatever you have, doesn't really matter for the namespace. Public partial class form 1 inherits from form. Then we have our constructor public form 1 calls initialize component method, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so now we have private void. Nope, not this one. That was a mistake by clicking that. So we have private void calculate average button underscore click takes parameter obj sender comma event args e. So we'll start out with a try block. Okay, there's a bit to do here. Nothing crazy. Okay, no, that's actually not too much at all. You guys have seen my other programming videos. Some of them go like 3-4 hours with no breaks. I think a lot of that is from the debugging, or not all of it, but maybe a third of that. But I'm not really debugging anything. I usually just step through the code. But I don't think you can really do that too much here. We can give it a shot today, actually. I'll just make a note of that somewhere to do that. Okay, so I'll just remind myself here. Try debugger. The reason why we can't really use it that much is because it's pretty much user controlled. So like usually a backend code will have like it'll start at the main and it'll go through the line by line execution. If it hits certain conditionals, it'll travel around the code. But in this case, this may only kind of start it up because the rest is by clicking. User interactions like entering text and all that. But perhaps once you do something like that, it might kind of go somewhere. I'm not too familiar with the debugger yet, but shouldn't be too hard to use. I haven't really needed to use it yet, but we can give it a shot and see how it works. From the past, from Java and Android, when I did try it, it didn't really do too much, so that's why I kind of just didn't really use it, but we'll give it a shot. It's a good way to learn if it does work. It's the best way to learn, actually, because it really teaches you how the code moves, like the flow of the code. Really shows you how all the variables in memory are changing and all that. If it does show memory locations, but it should show variables. If it shows fields, that's even better because Java shows fields. Not sure. I don't think Python does. Maybe. But I know C doesn't. So C doesn't show any global variables or fields. C# might because it's closer to Java, so we'll see. If it shows fields, it's really helpful because it shows you everything that you really need. But some people might not know what I'm talking about, so we'll talk about it in a sec. So let's just comment out this exception. Glitching out here. Okay, so what happened to the keyboard? Stuck again. Why does it do that? It's just glitching out. What's happening here? Okay, we got a problem. Unfortunately, my keyboard has stopped. Is it on lock? I don't think it's on lock. That's not helpful. Let me try that again. No. There we go. Okay, why did it do that? It occasionally does that. It locks out your keyboard for a little bit. That happens to you, just click, if you're on Windows 10 at least, click your taskbar at the bottom, then click the ENG sign if you're in English. Try to reset that and see if it works. For me, I chose English Canada, but you can select whatever English, whatever country you're in, or whatever language you have. Okay, so let's comment this out. Okay, whoops, I got the wrong keyboard on now. Okay, so now let's, so here we'll just go with a try block. We'll open a block. I wanted to code this myself, so let's just delete this stuff here. Auto-generated code. So go with the try here, inside the try. We'll say const, it's a constant, we want a constant double. We'll call it high score. Point it, so we'll point it to whatever, 100. 99. So then here we'll initialize some more local variables. So I would double test 1, test 2, test 3, and average. So you can do this, you can initialize a bunch of variables from left to right that are all doubles instead of, so this is equivalent to saying like double test 2, double test 3. And basically it's the same way, it just kind of organizes your stuff more, like it saves space. Can be more efficient. I used to never do it, but now I'm doing it more often. You may not want to do it at first because you're not used to it, but it helps you at least declare a bunch of similar variables at the top or wherever in your code to help you save space, so you don't have to scroll around too much. And you can just have everything on one line to be more efficient, I guess. It's slightly faster too because you don't have to type double again and all that. So now here we have 4 double variables, they're all double locals. So now we'll say test1 points to double dot parse test1. So remember parsing. So let's actually just, let's just finish this first. So test1 text box dot text. So what is happening here is that we're saying we want to parse, which is like pass pretty much, this string, which is a text box dot text string. Want to pass it as a double, so we're basically converting the string to a double. Remember, it goes forward and then back. We're parsing this as a double. So we're converting the string to a double. We'll do that for all of them. So test2 points to double dot parse test2 text box dot text property. Okay, so then here we'll have test3 points to points to double dot parse test3 text box dot text. That should be pretty much it. And then we'll have the formula here, so which will take the average, point it to test1 plus test2 plus test3 divided by 3.0. Alright, so then we have just a few more things here. So now we'll display the average rounded to 2 decimal places. Someone must be like, why is this typing so bad these days? The reason is because I'm sitting on my bed. I've like moved my computer to my bed to make videos because it's more comfortable, but I used to, like, as I'm typing on like a blanket, so it's like kind of uneven. I used to do all my data structure videos on a desk, so I was able to type fast because my hands are kind of like uneven. I don't know, maybe I was just coding more back then. But yeah, so that's if someone's wondering why I'm typing so bad lately, it's probably because I moved. I'm like kind of lying down. Alright, so we have, so we'll display the average rounded to decimal, two decimal places. Display the average rounded to 2 decimal places, so we have to do that with a formatting string. So we'll say average label, camel case, label dot text points to average dot to string. Pass in this a formatting string of n, which is number to 1 decimal place, I think. So for the exact information on this, just go back through the playlist where we discussed formatting strings and toString. This is going to be a very long series. Might be the longest one because I've kind of broken down everything and talking about it more in depth, but it should be within the last few videos. Not very close, maybe about 5 or 10 back, so just have a look. So it will take me a while, not too long to upload these because I'm trying to upload them faster. I still have more than 100 videos to upload right now at this current time. And there should probably be another 100 just for C# itself. I finally almost finished uploading the Java and C videos. Java's almost done and C is the first one to be done, so try to get those out as soon as possible. Alright, so we have average label.text points to average.toString, calling the toString method, passing in a formatting string, and then that should be pretty much it for the formula. So if the average is higher than, so if the average is a high test score, basically you can just put up a congratulating dialog box or message box. So here we'll have if don't really need to separate these, but so we'll just go if average is greater than the constant high score. Then so this is a conditional. It's a if, they call it a single, I forget what they called it, single alternative decision statement or something like that. So it's pretty much just normal code, and then we'll have here message box dot show with a string in here, so we'll just say congrats. You scored high. So congrats, you scored high, because when you smoke pot and you take a test, you score. No, I'm just joking. You score high when you get high, so no, I'm just joking. So okay, so we have congratulations, great job, or whatever, just some kind of congratulating sign or line. So congrats, you scored high, just for the purpose of generating the dialog or message box, which is going to be like a pop-up window. So that'll pop up. So remember to put that in a string, literal with double quotes. That should be it, and then down here we'll have the catch. So we'll say catch exception EX. What's up with that? Let's try something here. Message box dot show EX dot message. What is up with that? There we go. Okay, so I forgot the try to close the try. Apologize for about that. So we have catch exception. We could have just called it exception. So here we're saying, okay, message box dot show ex dot message should be capitalized. It's not Java, so we just need to capitalize that. It's almost exactly the same as Java though. Kind of like exception. Exception, so here we'll just go with exception. That's fine. Whatever you want. Might make you think about your X when you have EX, so maybe I'll just change that. So we have, so catch exception message box dot show exception dot message. And then here we'll, okay, so now we just have to click on the clear button. Clear, so I'll just double click the clear button there. Comment that out. What's up with this? Okay, this got out of the brackets. What is this from? Okay, that's correct. Okay, so now we'll just, I think we got kind of a mix-up of organization or whatever it's called. Our structure here is kind of out of a line. So that's fine, so it doesn't really matter. Try to fix it if you can. I think because we're all the way to the bit to the right here, that's why. So namespace, class should all be in one line, and then you should have, why is that like that? I think, is there an extra 58? I think we have an extra box, perhaps an extra, yeah, we had an extra square bracket, okay. That's it kind of happens if you zoom in too much. This could have been moved up to the top here. Whoops. I usually just keep everything in one block, to be honest. Sometimes you try to do like similar things together and then other things spaced out. But when you're trying to look at your whole code from afar, you can't really see, it's hard to, it gives you more scrolling space, which you don't want. You want to try to minimize your scrolling space when you're scanning it, for like checking for errors and all that. Sometimes I even put everything without a double space between methods and constructors, just to help me see everything a bit better. But that's fine for now. That should be fine now. Everything should be in line, I think. So okay, so now we have private void clear button underscore click takes those parameters. So then here we'll set text1, test1 text box dot text. We'll point it to an empty string. Do the same for all of those. So here we haven't done this yet, but what we'll do is we'll just set we'll reset the focus. We talked about this. Should be recently within the last few videos we talked about the focus, so that's for the control focus. So like it could be set to a text box or something, a button or something. In this case we're setting it to a text box. So here we'll say test1 dot test1 text box dot focus, which basically just sets the focus to test1. So it sets the focus to test1 at the end of this clear button. So once you click the clear button, once everything's set to clear, test1 text box is set to the focus, or the focus is set to test1 to the test1 text box. Alright, so finally we'll just go with the exit button. Double click that. Comment that out. So here we'll just say form1 dot, or sorry, this dot close. That should be all, so let's just run that to make sure it's fine. It's just loading here. You won't be able to see it, I'll have to include it at the end. But the high score in dialog box, I don't think it'll come up. You won't be able to see that. My camera won't be able to catch it, so you guys can just test it out yourself. Alright, so I think it did work. Let me just test it out here. Oh great, okay, something happened. I messed this up. Okay, so there's only 2 decimal spaces for a room here for text. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but basically this page came up exactly the same window. So test score 1, I'm trying to enter more than 2 decimal places and an exception is popping up. So it's not liking that I'm entering more than 2 numbers. So that wasn't handled. So if this was a serious program or app, you'd have to handle those. But I can't put 100 for some reason, so that's dumb. It's like, okay, something's actually wrong with this, okay. What happened here? Stop. Okay, so maybe there's a mistake here. Why is there? It might take me a while to figure this out, hopefully not. Could be this, could be this. Let me try to delete this. Is there a problem with that now? Let me try saving that and then running that again. Just see if that works. What happened there? Did that work or? Not saying there's a problem here, but nothing came up. Which isn't good. Build failed. Okay, why is build failed? Alright, so now our backend code is messed up because the silly thing doesn't delete those lines in the backend when you delete that. So we have to click on program.cs. No. form1.cs. And form1, one of these, I think it's designer.cs. form1.designer.cs. Then we'll go with, click this, Windows Forms Designer Generated Code. Okay, so now I'm looking for red lines that are sticking out. Might be scrolling too fast through here. Okay, so this is, so if I look at this, I'm seeing one red line there. So just one. Okay, so let's just, what we're going to do is we're just going to simply just comment, or just comment it out. Or you can just delete it. You can try deleting it. You don't want to delete anything extra by accident. Okay, so now let's save that and try it again. Alright, so let's run the code now, see hopefully that'll work. See if that fixes the error. Alright, so that should have fixed the error now. So let me just try something here. Go with 100. Test score 2, 100. Test score 3, 100. Calculate average. Congrats, you scored high, okay. Clear. 100. Sets everything back. Tab works fine. With a tab order. Clear works. Exit works. Okay, the app works fine. So I'll show you the app now. I'll have to compile these videos separately. But you guys will, it should look like one video to you. Oh, so yes, I'll see you guys in a sec.